Am I the asshole for telling my ex, who left me for someone else, to move on when she asked me to accept her back? Back in 2015, I was in a serious relationship with a woman that I loved deeply. We clicked instantly, and for almost 4 years, we were head over heels for each other. At the time, I was figuring life out, and she was working on her bachelor's. We promised marriage, and at one point, I even bought her a ring and proposed. She accepted, and we hugged and cried together. But a few months later, she completely ghosted me. She blocked me everywhere, and I was devastated. A while later, I found out that she was marrying her ex of 10 years. I was heartbroken. I've tried reaching out multiple times, and I even called her mum and asked her to hand the phone over to my ex. Her mum agreed, and when I directly asked my ex if she wanted to say something to me, she simply said no. That was it. After that, I let it go and I never spoke to her again. Our relationship had lasted exactly 3 years and 11 months. Now that she wants me back, I told her that I'd already given her that chance years ago, but she claimed she doesn't even remember it. Fast forward to last year, out of nowhere, she reached out on IMO, and at first it was just small talk, nothing major. Then last month, she asked me to hop on a call. I hesitated, but eventually agreed. We ended up talking for 3 hours. During the call, she told me she regretted everything. She said she never actually wanted to marry her ex, but was forced to by her father, and then she turned it around and said that it was my fault because I didn't take a stand. I told her, how could I? You ghosted and blocked me. She insisted that if I truly loved her, I would have fought harder. She went on to explain that she now has 3 kids, her husband is verbally abusive, and his best friend openly flirts with her while her husband just laughs it off. She admitted that she's been so unhappy, she's even considered ending her life, but she stays for the kids. She said she's planning on divorcing him and wanted me to accept her back into my life. I told her, honestly, that she needs to move on and that I'm getting married soon. Now I'm wondering if I was too harsh. She was clearly in pain, but after everything she did to me, I didn't feel it was my responsibility to step back into that mess. So am I the asshole for telling my ex to move on instead of giving her another chance, or at least support her? In the comments, Tiger of Jungdong 1337 says, "Not the asshole. You were not harsh. I would have refused to speak to her. I had a girlfriend cheat on me, and she sent me an email from a strange account a year later telling me how much she regretted what she did and how we were meant to be together. I was engaged to my now wife. I showed her the email, we laughed together, and I blocked her there too." That's so good, I love that. She is looking for a meal ticket and a daddy for her 3 kids. You weren't nearly harsh enough. If you are truly getting married soon, I would make sure to come clean with your soon-to-be wife and block that crazy bitch everywhere. Yes, OP should be harsher. Silence is pretty harsh, as he already knows. Should have just kept following that policy. Not the asshole. She's only reaching out because she needs you to financially support her after the divorce. Please don't take her back. She made her choice. You are getting married. Why are you even entertaining this? Don't ruin what you have for a woman that dumped you in the worst possible way. Not the asshole. Block her. I bet it's because he's getting married that she's reaching out. Probably heard about the engagement. Whatever the case, I don't think OP's the asshole for telling the ex to move on instead of giving her another chance. She blocked you. The situation that she's in sucks, but that's not your battle to fight. You don't owe her anything. It's quite sad that she is in that situation right now, but you are not her meal ticket. It would be unwise for you to go and get involved in that because you don't know why she's reaching out to you. You don't know what exactly the full context of this situation is. And I give you permission to block her because what she did would mess me up for life personally. Screw that, not the asshole. And now, onto the update. After our call, she kept messaging me. I tried being civil and suggested that she and her husband seek mental health counseling, but instead, she snapped. She threatened me with false accusations, saying she would make up a story and tell my family. She called me immature for even suggesting they both needed help, told me that I need to grow up, and just kept escalating. I do admit that I have room to grow, but I don't think trying to suggest therapy makes me a bad person. I have screenshots of everything, but where I live, the law often treats you as guilty until proven innocent. That honestly scared me. I don't want to risk my relationship with my fiancé or get into legal trouble over someone who ghosted me years ago. The bigger issue that's eating at me is the kids. Before the call, she told me about how frustrated she was and that both she and her husband hit their kids. Ew, goddamn. I also know her family well and have heard about the physical abuse twice from other people. That's the only reason that I stayed on the call longer than I should. I grew up in a complicated house myself, and I can't just ignore it when kids are involved. I've been torn about calling Child Protective Services. On one hand, I don't want to get dragged into a mess, but on the other, I can't shake the thought of her kids suffering. My fiancé told me to leave it alone because her family is around and it's not my responsibility. I agree with her, but it still weighs heavy on me. So for now, I've blocked my ex and stepped away completely. It might be a while before I post another update, if ever. In the comments, Flashy Demand says, "She's manipulative, unstable, and dangerous. Protect yourself, protect your fiancé, and if you're worried about the kids, report it. That's the only part of this that is still your business. Why are you even thinking about her? You're getting married shortly, and the original story and update make me think that you're not ready to tie the knot. Stop thinking about the ex. She seems unhinged and dangerous. You're the asshole. I wonder what your fiancé would think about you being on the phone for 3 hours with your ex. Hopefully you break up with her so she could find someone better." I'm sure OP will just show his fiancé this post where he tells us he only stayed on the phone for that long with his ex because he was worried about her kids, and for his fiancé not to worry when the ex comes up with false allegations about him. Well, this is just one of those stories where I'm glad that this is not my life, because Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on there? Good luck with that, OP. I think you should just report her to the authorities, whatever institution deals with problems with those kids, and get them the help that they so obviously need. Send those screenshots in if you can. And I don't know what the hell's going on with that 3-hour phone call and how you're still quite enmeshed with the ex, but hey man, you do you. Again, glad it's not me. Very weird situation, that one, but I'm sure you'll figure it all out. Thanks for the story and thanks for the update, OP. Our next post is by user Odd Atmosphere, and it's titled, "Should I leave my boyfriend after he gave me a meal with shrimp, even though I'm allergic, and left me alone in the hospital? Hi everyone. I need some advice because I'm going through a situation that's overwhelming me. I'm 24 years old. I've been in a relationship for 3 years. I've lived with my boyfriend for a year, and for the past few weeks, it's been a bit of a fight after fight, especially since I started a night job. A job I studied for 6 years, and he always knew that I would take this job." The English is a bit broken in this one because she's French and it's translated to English from French. "He doesn't like it because we see each other less, and I sleep during the day while he is working. But that's not even the point. I'm allergic to seafood. The other night we were invited to a friend's house for a party where everyone had to bring a dish. My boyfriend brought back some spring rolls. I was with my family. I went straight to him and I asked him if he made them, and he said yes. I tasted them, and I immediately could tell that there was shrimp in them. I asked him, and he replied, 'Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you.' Luckily, my friend who was allergic to peanuts had an EpiPen and gave it to me, but it wasn't enough. My throat started to swell. The ambulance came, and I ended up in the hospital on an IV drip. When I came to, my best friend and parents were there. I asked where my boyfriend was, and there was an awkward silence, and they told me that he went out for a drink with some friends. He said we'd call him when you left. It really pissed me off. My best friend even told me that he seemed completely oblivious to the whole thing. When I got home, we had an argument about his behavior. In a fit of anger, I said, 'Did you try to kill me or something?' And he replied, 'Too bad it failed. At least you wouldn't be annoying me.' I went to my room to cry, letting out my hatred from the evening. We haven't spoken for 2 days, the atmosphere is icy, not even an apology, nothing. I tell myself I'm going to leave him, that there's nothing left to save, but I have this doubt in the back of my mind. I talked to my mother, who told me that every relationship goes through problems. But now we're talking about a problem that sent me to the hospital. I find it really strange. He never eats seafood, so why put it in the dish? Maybe I'm being paranoid? What do you think? Am I being dramatic, or is his behavior serious? In the comments. So let me start by saying I'm sorry for what's happening to you, but I'm gonna go with, what the hell is this question? First of all, that it was an accident after 3 years together is serious. Without your friend, you might be dead right now. And then what he said to you after? Seriously, love yourself and dump him. OP responds, thank you for this response. In fact, with everything that has happened, in my head, I tell myself that maybe it's me who is being dramatic, that I need to take a step back, etc. In short, I'm a little overwhelmed by the situation, but I'm going to leave him, and that's it. Nah, there's nothing to save here. And excuse me, but your mum's completely out of it too. It's impossible to downplay what he did and said, and her attitude when you're in the hospital. The guy made the spring rolls himself, put something in that you're allergic to on purpose, and then tells you, I quote, taste it. You wake up, he's not there. Did he want to kill you? If we were in the USA, you could have sued him for endangering you. You should even seriously consider it. This guy doesn't want what's best for you. Get away from this person ASAP. Who knows what he'll offer you next time? Ditch him. So obviously it's really serious, and it seems like he's doing it on purpose. I just want to point out that adrenaline pens, EpiPens, are not enough. They are used to buy you time, but you still have to go to the hospital after using one. Anyway, ditch him, block him, don't see him alone if you have to get your stuff back. OP says, yeah, I found out when I finished up at the hospital, unfortunately. The doctor told me that if I'd combined the pills and the pen, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with, he did try to kill you, OP. He said, oh, maybe you wouldn't have been so annoying. Sucks that it didn't work. That's just an admission of fault. He wanted your ass dead, OP. How are you so nonchalant about this whole thing? I think we need to be a little bit more serious for once here, and call a spade a spade. He did try to kill you. You're not overreacting for that. The fact that he wasn't in the hospital is even more telling because why? Why would he not want to be there for his loving girlfriend of 3 years after he did that to her? Wouldn't he want to be all over you, being remorseful and saying, sorry that I did that to you? I shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. No. I would be so scared of this guy after that. Jesus Christ, how could you stay with someone like this? And now onto a mini update. Thanks to everyone for your answers. I'm at work right now, but I took the time to read, and you're confirming what I already knew deep down. Tomorrow, I'm gonna go get my stuff while he's at work, and I'm gonna go live with my sister while I find an apartment. And yes, my mother isn't a great role model. She has a very old-fashioned mentality and downplays these kinds of situations a lot. Thanks again for your advice and messages. It gave me the courage to make a real decision, even if it stresses me out. But hey, I'll go to my brother to get my stuff just in case. You never know. And now, onto the update. So I finished work at 8 a.m., and a friend came with me to pick up my things. Normally, my boyfriend was supposed to be at work, but unfortunately, he was there at the apartment. He told me he was sick and asked what I was doing. I calmly told him that I was coming to pick up my things and that it was over, that our relationship had to end. He just looked at me and asked my friend to leave so that we could talk about how it was his place and we didn't want him there. I refused, reminding him that the apartment is also in my name. There are 2 of us on the lease, so if I wanted, he had the right to stay. For an hour, I emptied my things while listening to him call me every name under the sun, my friend and I. He repeatedly told him to speak with his mouth, but hey, we were up against a wall. I grabbed everything and I left. I'm gonna get legal advice to clarify some things, Because, to answer those who asked, yes, he knew perfectly well that I was severely allergic to every restaurant. I spent time reading the ingredients, asking questions, etc. For those who ask if it was in his character, no. He was always gentle and caring, so it's very hard to understand what could have happened. But hey, human beings are complex, and I have to remind myself not to dwell on my situation. Yes, I say that to reassure myself. Thank you again to everyone for your messages and support. In the comments, you did the right thing leaving and also getting someone to go with you and having a witness to the insults, plus your friend who saw him give you the shrimp spring rolls. Hang in there, block him everywhere, and don't feel bad about the apartment stuff and everything. The sooner you cut all ties, the better it is for you. He's always been sweet and caring, so it's really hard to understand what could have happened. This part is even more freaky. I think a little investigation on him by the cops would be in order. The sweet personalities, but capable of that, are the worst. Every relationship has its problems. You know, like attempted murder. But when he's not trying to kill me, he's so sweet and gentle. And really, who hasn't had a boyfriend attempt to kill them? He 100% did that shit on purpose. What a monster. He never even denied it either. I wonder what made him choose now to poison her. Did they argue about going to her friend's party? Was she planning to wear an outfit that he didn't agree on? How come he was sweet up until now, despite their many fights? He somehow managed to stay sweet. What was the trigger? What the hell is wrong with OP's mother? Why would she minimize someone trying to kill her child? My mother used to tell me that abuse wasn't a good excuse for divorce. If I wanted to leave a marriage, I'd have to separate until he cheats on me. These types of mothers are what we call pick-me's, and are the same kind of mothers that child predators seek out. It's an unfortunate reality for a lot of people. Having parents that downplay the abuse that you suffer and then also blame you for it? Oh yeah, no, abuse isn't a good excuse for divorce. You have to wait until he cheats on you, and then you can get divorced. Him beating you half to death? No. You should just rough it out and beat him back. Like, that's the kind of logic that I'm getting from situations like these, and it pisses me off. This should not be the normal that people experience, but yet it is. And I'm so sad for those that are victim to people like this. They deserve better. They deserve justice. OP deserved support from her mother, and she didn't get it. How dare the mother try to downplay OP's attempted murder? Oh my god. I'm so sorry you went through that, OP. I'm glad that your friends were able to pick up the slack that your mum left, and I hope you stay the hell away from your boyfriend and come after him legally in the future if anything else comes from this. Thank you for the post, and thank you for the update. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.